Jesus, you're the wind beneath
from Yamamunina, Joe Mama Fisher Pa. About the other Mam GDC in a year. And now you can see that you know Siabo and Jacobo on Sona, the Munim Sadaje, any puso, not as a Adiyie programmer, the Power Council, Mmre, and a withdrew. Over the show, Nemu Yadia back my phone. No fraud of Fubi, no some fraud of Fubi say Adiyie programmer, a phrase. And watching the Somalia VC is to me live, Facebook, into the O2 TV at Tikra. Sabello now so but boy when I'm some Kajumedi no. For our smartphone, no home based TV Ghana. We be program the link and all. Now they like a program that share mine. So all message be a Guasi, a Brabon, a Beja Breniac and kind at the amount. And which YouTube and after Twitter and so the same home based TV Ghana will be that program no or continuation also serve for my. Your friend is here for the share Kufika Curry. Now, Sunny be free Medina and a 7 pennies within Wumnia Yichi. Tafuma 3 more contributions na nyame dom so ababe kan hensa into we salute you. God bless you so much. Yankopon Emma mo asem enwe de biara da sanso na tema community 3 monso mama de na ababe kansa tema community 3 nyame enhira mo papa enka eno nso besua mo ke bebo papa na enso ejabra na ye mo no bede okay nyame pa Evangelist Joseph Anane eba be program ewo Solomon City minim sa shaman de em se krubia din ni bi wo Solomon City ewo ashaman na we ne eye program e be take a week long it is all sha e be frase ebnada ebe na ebnada anwumre no so kan no free program no ase ewo Solomon City SDA Church ewo ashaman na yawada na fi na memeneda dey be the whole day from about 9 o'clock to 5:30 or 5 o'clock in the evening into no so monhye no so na mo amotebe area mu hono moma ye nyina ye hyiam ewo Solomon City ewo Shaman SDA Church na ye nyina ye sua de anwumre bia emum na nim se Nyankopon ebehira ye bebre eno achi no beka me ho na adofo a wo na etietie sika nkakrakra mom tomane ne de tua airtime na ye consume no ye de aseda kese aseda mu rempiem ase edu e de ama wo mo ni asre obo ade nhira soronko e de ama mo no kure nie ebrebi akoyi ebeko ye nkutudwa nim se ye bompaye no ye kai mo if you say the evangelist kan da bia na ye bi no ne tia nanso mo bo ye chidom ti no ye brodom nti Yankopon ti asefo no nhira mo papa eno echi no sebe etrente ya nya acheso a Oliver Twist se o kakra bi wo nsem se busua ankrankre asori na mpese mo send the brain me editua airtime na me pato number be send the akoso no program no koso nyina be hu no o screen anim 055 35 74 933 se o message bia na se o asem bisa bia so abefre the same line Evangelist Joseph na ne be pikin na nkomo bia ho bia no one abom me fa kwanya so na me wo she Bright Asante happy birthday. Evangelist me back to aba kono no wow o nyam fie nwotwe nti Bright Asante nyame enhira papa happy birthday and topic aye hwe no eye enwo bepo no so ofra etoso enum on the Mount of Olives part 5 and ye hwe na nanwumri na se menka mo adwere kakra Yesu Kristo bowura sorry dem of Jerusalem what ya hodini nsi ye bi kasae owie no hwe mfifire te no ene se do si kasae no opie fra sorry dem anu kotena ngo bepo no so ene suafo no call ne nchen e wo ngo bepo no so ene nsam a wokeka no sorry dem ho omkubu saa no nkiremu na se mom kan se Kristo tre da be na eyi be ye ho oba any wiase awie it not say enyia no yesu de ma no e wiase awie ho nsenkyerene so e ka ho bi na ye wo wiase awie ebre mu de na ko hia se yesua bibi e de free hono it topic I share and no say dem kan na ngo be pono so ofa etoso enum evangelist, the researcher, the systematic theologian Joseph Ananewa evangelist mo adwuma kwa aba oba de insha papa na ye wo videos mako 16 they be chile nsimu ama ensimu adako evangelist manko on the Mount of Olives part 5
yeah that right there say and now 31st December 2021 say me did say correct 31st December 2023
na we akoto ide na che say ya share new year dada esu bi twen sana judu mienu asa na ombeka say ya share mu ai ewrade hu ye mobo
sa pepe na every nra besi se me bayi e bia frɛ sɛ take new year resolution sa afiwe on the only echere is just on them
to God be the glory
na ye ni gisem I team member ba ko wo Kumasi e friend Francis on yere Jumaima
okay
on so no ama ye nua ba member ko e friend no Emmanuel Gameli on so Sarah
that's right
2024 just a huna
yes
ni
that's right
sir yes ni sir to chian manana to beji so
that's right
yes entino onia Gameli ye ma ko abasronko Boanyanko or Confanco.
That's right.
Aye.
But if I say, no man, so me for Quenya.
Yes.
Now, in himself, for be brace of to program on Bombay mine. Name moment single back out. Pastor Andrews L. U.
Okay.
Paseu, Yanko Pontias, phone in Papa, because evangelist. So your program here to say, then your soft will be of his caliber. No for a bow passo, some program me share. Na said the aircraft, no one. Not to say,
I said that.
Monam company. Inti Paseu. Yanko Pontias phone in no man quatenti upon day. Evans Ben Comonco.
Every part of Betty Yanka. Remember, every part. Now, I didn't find a bonnet say, no, we are mobile. And grab a copper, Medema, poor Francis in the Holy See. Nancy was said up for you now, so. Niji Kwa will be a singing said, do a mopper so moyen, or moyen in them.
And then they used to do that.
A fisher part made
them your press away on. Your name, teacher.
Here you go. I'm going to put no some crass him. A brother used to can't say, Yenya a boy, so yen will go away. No, so for the band in town to Chimatos me and son. Was it catcher ye? A die ye no bayable. Sa ye me a Jerusalem say, and I used to do two jam. And now feel almost beside yes, and Cassani Maye. Anyway, I say you won't send any.
That's right.
And yes, to cast a moon. A barn say or Jerusalem say, what the ashen so dear and ascent near Chateau say with the Muhuma, Mumian if you could. Simple. So say what the Okayo cancer moon you know there, and no yet I wore a young fiancé. No one can so much room. A big crowd of Cassie in your mind. But the Adriel Matches and Petro de Nunachamudun, or sister a chuadia, a bomb my before than the Kaya, saying na Croncombia. Yes, the walking kind of manentias, Fimunian, sir. And you know, no enemy I ever saw you. Na a chuadia bomb mine, Yachim Namigusara Yachim, and say, Roma Sraf for now a bar Jerusalem. Na Omipia Kunusia, or Mobano, or Mukuta a chuadia. Echuade ni abosom noma do a ekuta wono nsusu se saa abosom noma no ahode bi wontumi bi wo mu abebbo ho ban etime akuatia Israelfo no eno echiwade no na ne nyina ye owiasom no ehwa hyanso de ahodo ekuta wono teso omure hyade no se we ne bebo ho ban. That's right. Won se kane bebre ne se Israelfo no kɔ ɔko a ya na apamada kane edi ne mu ka titiru ne Jericho de no. That's right. Apabra kan di kai enna de ko se Filisafo no ho na edwuridwuro ma abosom no gu ye nyina so ABC fine entino titifo no benu wo saa adwene no se yemfa ye nyame ni kai Constantine kura no be ye ne ma no so ka se asrafo nyina nye cross no mfa nko ha entino aye titifo no so ban na saa abosom nyama na Kristo kan se so omo ho se aba konkron bia ho a konkron bia no nya soro dem. That's right. And then ye bia potin bia Jisenya abakosem achire Israel say Israel for esusu say aye Jerusalem fasuo no fasuo no ho ba kwansine kakra bi asa na wumfura mu kokoro no mu no ehon nyina ya konkron bia that's right enti wo onanani a yintia ho Israel ni de otime fa ho ba so wonsusu say Israel ni ho te me wo onanani a se be ntwa twetwa ni de entia ho wo be ba jise ni fa amane bi mu ansa na ya ka so ho ate afi bowura kuro no okay tin eno ne kronkron bia me nya so dem ha ye de so dem de kronkron bia fine me nka so nya kronkron bia o ba kronkron bia Yesu kan de nya so dem ha aye wo no achi kasase kakra bia da ho a is for apai ho se kronkron na ho no ka that's right ti asra for no de o makode ni abosonya no be duru ho ne se nkom hye ne den amashema very good na aso dan no Yesu kan se yenya ebo so no yenyi video dikai na ye fanchire asem.
Okay.
Yes.
Production Wadarma Adansi into video 1 Samaya Kraba Mmre for my video 1.
We are going to be studying together one of the most important monuments to survive from Roman antiquity, but it's not just about Roman antiquity. Our course is about the Arch of Titus and the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans, how it was celebrated by the Romans, how it's been mourned by Jews for 2,000 years, how Christians have intersected with this arch. We are talking about the Arch of Titus, from Rome to Jerusalem and back. We're talking about an artifact that we can follow around the world to learn about, to understand, to give meaning to. The overarching themes of our course are the place of the Jews in the Roman world, the place of the imperial might of Rome in the history of Western culture, and how these communities have interacted and transformed over a 2,000 years period. Seeing this object, which is just dead stones, as a living object in our cultural heritage. We are going to be studying together one of the most important monuments to survive from Roman antiquity, but it's not just about Roman antiquity. Our course is about the Arch of Titus and the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans, how it was celebrated by the Romans, how it's been mourned by Jews for 2,000 years, how Christians have intersected with this arch. We are talking about the Arch of Titus, from Rome to Jerusalem and back. We're talking about an artifact that we can follow around the world to learn about, to understand, to give meaning to. The overarching themes of our course are the place of the Jews in the Roman world, the place of the imperial might of Rome in the history of Western culture, and how these communities have interacted and transformed over a 2,000 years period. Seeing this object, which is just dead stones. We are going to be studying together one of the most important monuments to survive from Roman antiquity, but it's not just about Roman antiquity. Our course is about the Arch of Titus and the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans, how it was celebrated by the Romans, how it's been mourned by Jews for 2,000 years, how Christians have intersected with this arch. We are talking about the Arch of Titus, from Rome to Jerusalem and back. We're talking about an artifact.
Adofo ya mamu nyina akwaba em se yatese mu bi volume no twitwitwi kakra be technicians ne ho adwuma ti mo nso mo check se o volume no eda mono a fato audio stereo se de be ya ebia na no na ama volume ni ntimi ma na etimi aye kama e de ama bet they are still working on it. Evangelist yakwa kohwe medium hu masala chikesi bi
we no say you mechanic saying Jude ni Professor B. I have heard Professor Stephen Fine. Ono na watch say ampa Roman for Jerusalem. Akudiri asɔndan bi egu ɛma ɔmo de ɛho nneɛma bi a edi ho adanseɛ.
That's right.
Akukura de akɔ Rome na ɛyɛ no mo frɛ no ka ne sɛ ɛyɛ deɛ ɛyɛ kaya dom ne nka ne saa.
That's right.
Ɔmo body sɛ the Arch of Titus ɛsɛ ɔno na ɛba Jerusalem bɛdi sɛ adwuma.
That's right.
Enti no yɛde wei di adanseɛ sɛ nyɛ nokorɛ sɛ yɛdwiri Jerusalem asɔndan no gu ya enka saa deɛ no enkosi ho. So
that's right.
Yes. Jene na adanseɛ kɛseɛ na afei ɛtɔ so mmienu Kristo ka we ya ɛbaa mu na wasan so aka to hɔ sɛ saa na mo nso so ne yɛ sɛ Jerusalem wie a Yesu Kristo no nkasa ne mayɛ no yɛn yɛ bɛtena wiase saa bere no mu ɛna ɔka wɔ Lukas mpɛkyɛ dunu baako kyɛm de sa baako no sɛ saa nsa na mo nso so sɛ mo ho yie no sɛ
refresh aba
yes
sɛ awie no
abɛn ɛyɛ Nyankopɔn ahenie enti no yɛn yɛ ɔka saa sa no kyerɛ yɛ no yɛn nso so no yɛwɔ akyiwade a ɛbɔ man Jerusalem no chiwade ye hu chiwade bo man no na se ne bo no aban enti no ka se saa na mo nso so hu ye ni mu a saa yem no ka ye no eye sanchene ahodo a watwe Lucas empanum etidu no ba akwache modunu no eye Luke 21:25
na owia be ma mo nsanchene osrame ene epo ebetra ne hye
saa
na ehu ebebo na otete asase so
saa no ma no a wa se se Luke 21:25 no e sha se pia anamuntu ya asase so fo mpanimfo ahodo beto no ede ba ko wie achiwade a ebo man no
okay
sanity isa for de no e baaye kwan e fa so baaye no last week me kan timi nko ho bebre yenye de ne hia sesei
that's right
Kristo ma yensenjene ahodo na achiwade ebo man e beba wiase na de na sampa Kristo ba no eno no Luke 21:25 nsam wo no sha se e ba mu a anamuntu ya asase so panifo betuo no e de chiwade ebo man ne ebeba
that's right
na Japan kai se Israel braso chiwade ebo man no na eye owiasom bosom no e ho asen so no mo de bae na owiasom no nkasa no ne dan de som ne fritete no ene owiada na ka no Sunday e kwasi ada
that's right
sanso na ebekwa awie ya sa owiasom asen so de no ebesa ba wiasa afa na nyinara minka manenwa video Mmre bi
okay adansi into production we be so wadaroma video 2 se no so my crowd amon room for my video 2.
And speaking specifically of the Holy See has a unique role among religions in that it has a diplomatic representation. It's present throughout the world. How do you see the unique role of the Pope and the Holy See in addressing issues like climate change?
You know that the Pope is very interested, very much so, and the evidence of that are the two documents he produced, Laudato Si, which was really a reference point of many leaders of the world and of many governments at the time of the COP of Paris, when they signed the agreement about the climate changes. And now the Laudate Deum, which is a document trying to up-to-date the Laudato Si. And of course the Holy See is not is interested in all the aspects of the problem. Also the Holy See is speaking about reduction of gas emission, the problem of the increasing of the sea and so on. But our focus is especially on two things, on two particular issues. First of all is lifestyle. It's not enough to put more money inside that. Oh, they need money just for mitigation and adaptation. No, of course, I am not saying that it's not important to put money in this issue, but it's not enough. We have to really to change our way of living, just not to aggress the creation, not to aggress the nature, but to be stewards, as the Pope said. No, and this is the task entrusted by God to the humankind when He created him. And then to education. This is another very important point to educate the new generation, just to have to use in a different way of the resources of this world. And this is a universal, worldwide commitment of the Holy See. We took this in signing also the agreement, the Paris Agreement. It was precisely this the point stressed by the Holy See, because we have also a part of our commitment is regards Vatican, the Vatican City, and at this stage we can take some measure, some concrete measure, but of course our state is a very small one. We don't have a significant impact to the phenomenon, but we feel that we can really give a great contribution on the side of the education of the new generation to use properly the resources of this world.
adɔfonom yɛma mu nyinaa akɔ aba MC akɔ akɔhwɛ Roman Catholic sɔfo panim paa twetwe ro baako na no disem yɛnkɔ evangelist no nkyɛ mu man
deɛ nti ɛbɔ video ne sɛ ɔbɔ Laudato Si.
That's right.
Sɛ homa no yɛgyina so wɔ program yi so mbra hodo bibiri ɛnyɛ TV yɛka ho 3ABN yɛka no ho Royal TV Trinity yɛka no ho ɛna home base yɛka sɛ saa ɛyɛ Laudato Si no kwasɛ da so nhyehyɛ ɛwom na no wɔda ma wiase na ne nsɛm no ɔkan no ɔka bɔfo bi sɛ Laudato Si no ɛyɛ reference point ɛma UN ne yɛ wiase ama nyinara yɛkɔ meet wɔ Paris ɛna ɔkan na ɛka sɛ reference point a kyɛ sɛ ɛno ne wɔn fapem ɛne ɔgyina so yɛpɛ biribi a ɛno mu yɛgye fie na ɛno na meka sɛ kwasɛ da so ɛwom na amanamaya agye atom na aka ɛbrɛ na adura wie fi sɛ ɔmo ahyɛ brɛ sɛ ɛtɛnɛfa wiase a na ɛkyewa deɛ bɔ man no aba.
That's right.
Ɛdi ka unity ansa na Donald Trump ɛbrɛ n'aseɛ na sɛsɛ deɛ apɛgya ne mpere no so na ne mpere no so wei deɛ adom to betwa fi sɛ ɔmo apo adom ti na meka sɛ adom to betwa.
Okay.
Na meka sɛ ɛkyewa deɛ ɛno na ɛkyewa deɛ bɔ man no a ɛyɛ kakra ɔmo ayɛ dwimiri ɛne kwasɛ deɛ ɛbɛyi.
Yɛbɛbiebie nneɛma
saa pɛpɛɛpɛ.
That's right.
Afei nea nti a mede ɛnegye na akokuduro ɛka kyerɛ ɔno sɛ kyewa deɛ bɔ man no sɛsɛ apagya nkɔnkɔn bia no saa homa no a ɛyi Cardinal Parolin ɛbɔdi mpatɔ saa Roman sɔfo no nya bɛtɛ saa wo pope ni hɔ a ɔno di so.
Wow.
Wɔyɛ number 2 in command Cardinal Parolin ɔno ɔno kɔsi pope anam wɔ Dubai Holy See mampania bɛ de kyerɛ mu no to nya ne paketoa.
That's right.
To no afiri dem ho abɛka kyerɛ sɛ Laudato Si no ɛno na wiase ama nyinaa ɛhwɛ so yɛde bɔ wiase a yɛnyi ho nti so ɔka yɛ ne bɔmpanin bi amba abɔnten ka sɛ deɛ ɔka no ɔboa fine na ɛhoma no ɛyɛ Laudato Si no kwasɛda so wɔ wɔn wɔ loss and damage yɛbɛkyerɛ mu video bɛba ɛno yɛ aman akɛseɛ no wɔn fa sika ɛmo aman ketewa no na yɛmfa mmɔ ɔbɛbrɛ ho ban mentwa ne tiasa ɛna ɔwa watwerɛ mu sɛ saa homa yɛ no plastic ɛyɛ pure water rubber deɛ ni ntoa no a yɛde pure water gu mu a yɛnom no saa plastic no yɛnte so na yɛsisa kwan yɛfa so use no ne nyinaa hyɛ Laudato Si no ɔde ma wiase sɛ wɔn mo nsusu nyɛ saa deɛ no ɛna ɔde ka so sɛ nsu a yɛnom deɛ bɔ ho ban na nsusu nsɛɛ no ɛna ɔka sɛ yɛnnuanua ɛwɔ Laudato Si no ne nyinaa no ɔde kan de ama wɔ 2015 na yɛmbisa sɛ ɔyɛ ani so anaasɛ ɔmo de so videos bɛba
adansi nti
yes ɛna afei nso so ɛyɛ Paris Agreement no ɔmo kɔsan yɛ ɔka sɛ ɛno ne reference point no mpanimfoɔ no nsɛm ɔmo gye tu mu no wohwɛ ɛyɛ page Paris Agreement ni page 29 article 14(2) no a ɔmo ka asɛm bi wɔ mu na dabi ɔka sɛ the conference of the parties serving as a meeting yes ɛno a
The conference of the parties,
yes,
serving as the meeting of the parties to the Paris Agreement, shall undertake its first global stocktake in 2023.
Yes.
And every 5 years thereafter, unless otherwise decided by the conference of the parties, serving as the meeting of the parties to the Paris Agreement.
Mo. Entino, wamajia to say, ye meeting 2015. You say you do 2023. Ye be sensia.
Ye be boom compo.
Yes. Nani ya kenyina no. Ya hwe se akoduru sei.
That's right.
Ti de woman said de la that to see kan nyina no. Ye kobon compo about 2023. Ye be ho say ye kan sei. And a so for can say a reference point.
That's right.
Sa na brofo ne tie. Na yen kwhwe so can say yen plastic use. Yen hwe say atime ba so na amba so.
Okay.
Yes, into yen fa video.
Production madam my video 3 and 4. So my crowd I know so mo roman adansi.
We will now turn to the draft resolution entitled End Plastic Pollution towards an internationally legally binding instrument, that is UNEA EA5L23. May I take it that the Assembly wishes to adopt this draft resolution? I see no objections. It is so decided.
Protesters got their message across outside UNESCO headquarters in Paris to say choose people over polluters, raising concerns about the influence of industry lobbies on discussions. Inside, the UN Environment Programme, hosting talks, released a blueprint to reduce plastic waste by 80% by 2040 and warned against halfway measures.
Only elimination, reduction, a full life cycle approach, transparency, and a just transition, only those can bring success. Because the truth is that we cannot recycle our way out of this mess.
The stakes are high in finalising a global treaty on plastic pollution. 1 million plastic bottles are purchased every minute worldwide. Up to 5 trillion plastic bags are used each year, and half of all the plastic we use is designed for single use only.
Plastic pollution is everywhere.
Countries are divided. Around 50 nations are in a coalition to reduce use and production, with others such as the US and China insisting better waste management is the answer.
This redesign of our waste systems.
On one hand, we have the High Ambition Coalition. It's a group of states committed to a strong ambition, including the European Union, Canada, and Mexico. And on the other hand, we have the United States, China, Saudi Arabia, and Russia, who are less ambitious and prefer to have voluntary measures on end of.
I don't know your program we so yen kasem elia troha. Iti de wala da to see no e fa plastics ho ya kwa kwa ho asem ne enko evangelist no nchire mu yi emfaman evangelist
one was say videos near two na you there no one say okotu we no or the boy say it is legally binding. Yes Cardinal Pietro Parolin say na that to see and na UN your reference your baby be a kohwem papa na kan say plastics no yenya use yenyen sachare wo say you ajato ya sha ho fa meti abaso omo ka chen say holy sin e kai omo anka fine eno chin so no you enquire the letter ba e wo plastics hu na dance nti ye be bo kakra bi so keke ni akọ
okay UN Environment Program
omo
Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee on Plastic Pollution. In March 2022, at the resumed 5th session of the UN Environmental Assembly,
yes,
5.2, okay, a historic resolution was adopted to develop an international legally binding instrument on plastic pollution, including in the marine environment.
Enti la dato sine can say plastic pollution yente so nyenyen sasere say you and yaye la dato sine by 2015 we 2022.
That's right.
a reference point. The entire mede ahwefo ko chite kakam de obo ne mun say kwasada som ka ho nti no so duru so a mo nwa mo adwen say ade foforo a reference point ya de ne line botwa nti na ye ba ye ka so de omo ye no omo nya ne ntem ne hu ebio ono an ka say ko dodwo nua ne nyina no e wo screen so ye di page ne la paragraph na to so.
That's right. Wo ukita Paris agreement ne bi no betuma make reference.
Enuadua no eno so e ho video mra.
Okay.
Next 2 videos. Yes.
Production videos 5 and 6. Enua Ladato si kasi enua no. Yedua hai anasi enua. Mesha monro video 5 and 6.
We are rapidly reaching the point of no return for the planet. We face a triple environmental emergency: biodiversity loss, climate disruption, and escalating pollution. For too long, humanity has cut down the Earth's forests, polluted its rivers and oceans, and ploughed its grasslands into oblivion. We are ravaging the very ecosystems that underpin our societies. And in doing so, we risk depriving ourselves of the food, water, and resources we need to survive. The degradation of the natural world is already undermining the well-being of 3.2 billion people, or 40% of humanity. Luckily, the Earth is resilient, but she needs our help. We still have time to reverse the damage we have done. That is why, on this World Environment Day, we are launching the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. This global movement will bring together governments, businesses, and civil society and private citizens in an unprecedented effort to heal the Earth. By restoring ecosystems, we can drive a transformation that will contribute to the achievement of all the Sustainable Development Goals. The task is monumental. We need to replant and protect our forests. We need to clean up our rivers and seas. And we need to green our cities.
World Environment Day today, and we're here at Mary MacKillop Park with Canterbury Council in support of their tree planting day. Where Transgrid's committed some of the plants and some of our staff to come down and help plant out the garden beds.
600 seedlings have gone and been planted over the last 45 minutes, so that's fantastic. Nature is very good for us, very good for our mental health.
We're also going to support the council in maintaining the garden beds over 12 months while the plant's established.
Transgrid, it's one of the more high-profile companies that actually does a lot of good outreach work.
Excellent, high five, you planted your first plant.
Out of the sign, Emma Mokawa, Miss Samuel Mudodua, mon share or Facebook, my and Montwason share, Celebrate Doms will be a program to be Ashe. Now, baby, a topic I discuss in the Mmre, a sempaka, a course or and go upon us all. And on a Iguso and a part 5. Now, her video, evangelist and drive a could be home. Say a woman a yellow that to see we are saying Jinasway and she shall hold on a Numjina ASR and she shall Nina. I can't say who do beer, Imubian home will try, or Nina a yejuma. And what can I be to say? Ye didn't in a yejuma, because there are some shimpa, and I am fine yejuma. Yako videos, never evangelist.
Very well. Why United Nations? A year boss no. Antonio Guterres or pie the World Environmental Day. The World Environment Day say you do in Vienna. So Australia, you have video no almost do be.
That's right.
And you Ghana do Ghana de ya bohu de rent me pese ye de bana kwa nkwanada no. Yes sem kakra. Australia be dia dance temia no won do ai. Ni nyina la dato si yara. So for ne say a reference point. So the basa no you na de animu. Enye Roman Catholic. You na de animu. And na you omu kire mo say ade no mo free Roman Catholic ho. Eye Holy See. Fine. Maka no awie no oka wala dato sinum say loss and damage. Medical chim and say loss and damage say amanya omonye sika e sign say omo tu form ngu ato gudi atwetwe bia de di kanya ho no omonye sika wie. Na saa no no omoye no enam so ma den so bone abre amanya ehia wo no tse se bi Ghana man Togo ni Nigeria ehia yen enti omo afa ye ho nya sika ehia wo no enti ahonya no wo nya no ye twabo se omontwe bi mayen ti so omo de yedam inti montwe bi mayen no mo kan loss and damage no.
That's right.
Na eno so no e wala dato si no yenkohwe se UN oye tumu wanya ntumu se sika no motwa omotwa abama maya video si ni dance ne hwa.
Okay, production video 7 and 8 and also a dance inti rule for mine.
Today, a historic step forward in addressing the effects of climate change in the developing world. An agreement decades in the making, a global fund to compensate poorer countries suffering climate disasters.
I hear no objections. It's so decided.
At the United Nations Climate Conference known as COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, representatives from 200 countries worked into the wee hours to reach the agreement. Details, including dollar figures, are yet to be determined. Developed countries like the US and the European Union and some international financial institutions are expected to be contributors to the so-called Loss and Damage Fund. Vulnerable nations like Pakistan, ravaged by deadly flooding this summer, will be the expected beneficiaries.
What it can do is provide the financial resources that countries will need to rebuild after disasters, to help those who are migrating, who are refugees, to help with food security challenges.
President Biden addressed the summit on Friday.
We see our mission to avert climate catastrophe not only as an imperative for our present and future, but through the eyes of history.
The U.S. and other rich countries had resisted the idea of a fund for years, fearing they could be sued for climate disasters. The new agreement takes away that potential legal liability. A show of unity from nations big and small to address a global crisis. For today, Raf Sanchez, NBC News.
Germany, you have the floor. It is my understanding that some parties may offer to contribute to the fund, and I encourage parties to consider making such pledges during this session. I request the Secretariat to update paragraph 14 of the decision to reflect any offers to contribute made during this conference. Further, I also request the Secretariat to make available on UNFCCC website all offers to contribute as they are made. I recommend that once operational, the board take up the matter of a name for this fund for climate impact response. On these understandings, I invite the COP to adopt the draft decision contained in document FCCC/CP/2023/L.1. Hearing no objections, it is so decided.
Yes. There were videos too. First one here, COP27 Mmre. I heard no mom can say we be account to say yentria loss and damage yentria ka. Na Mmre no nko share no. Na e wo Mmre no mo say aman no a ye hu say omo no mo say wiem no. Omo create large emission pollution.
China, US.
Yes. Yetimi ti wo no. Enti no chia ye nchi wo mu no mo so person betua scan ko otua scan no na say waje atomo say o no say wiase. Enti no onemu a ma be pie COP28. Engo pie ho no na Mmre no fa na che say ye nchi ama kase na omo ha wiase no mo isa Mmre na fido. Ti say ni macho bi enim. Ti e gudru COP28 no na scan ye twegum bum. Ene say ye boy ensem no. Ene ji aba. Ni nyina say for France say loss and damage. Ya ji atom. Sika no $100 billion egu account no.
Ebi wo
Omasha secretary to bi egum eduru 83 asese.
That's right.
Sa na che say no sika na ba. Na sika no e kire beka ho asem. Ne giye no. Nyama bebere de da ho. Ebi ni sa ma wade ma ne mema wade mema no. Sa sika che say wo koji a sa nyama nyina be hwe se wo man no wo de sa ma nyina ye dwuma. Wo de mri twum keke.
That's right.
E be ba so. Na ye firi we so no. Ya bon la nato si no aposo sama kasa woni mo ye free sa loss and damage so asisi e ba kwese da so mo so na no men kan be bre ye mo video ba kon kan wansa.
Okay, production video 9 ye ma videos no en kasa video 9.
We have the basis to make transformational change happen. Let us finish what we have started. Let us unite, act, and now deliver. I declare open the 6th meeting of the CMA. I'd like to continue consideration of the decisions and conclusions recommended for adoption by the CMA. I will also report back on the outcomes of the consultations undertaken by the Presidency of relevance to the CMA. And I will report on the outcome of the consultations undertaken by the Presidency on building opportunities for youth to engage in the UNFCCC process. The order in which the agenda items will be taken up is posted on the screen. I invite the CMA to consider agenda item 4, first global stocktake. At their plenary
Adofno ya mamwa kwa ba COP28 chairman amuyi no na akasa no osesen yenko evangelist.
Oh say Okasa I declare opened the 6th meeting of the CMA. Yemu benum de sakasa no ka enhaye se betiase.
That's right.
Na sebio mabrewa awoteme kurase. Sa 6th meeting of the CMA no. Eko United Nations for eko jinchiremu. Simple.
Okay.
So omo na mukrom kasa. Na on chiremu say that 6th meeting of the CMA no. Osha UN Nations climate change no. Yes.
United Nations climate change. Presidency consultation on CMA agenda 6.
Very good. I don't need 6th meeting on the CMA.
Okay. Sharm el Sheikh. Mitigation, ambition, and implementation work program.
Yes.
Referred to in decision 4/CMA.4.
Next is a year call Sharm el Sheikh 20 COP27 year call.
Egypt no.
Egypt. Ya Mmre be tumu. Na Mmre no anyi dwuma ho. Eno na chairman no de ha ma boss say I declare open. Wa be bia no e wo Dubai.
Okay.
Eno CMA6 no. Nti afi na e ba ye dwuma. Na CMA6 eno ye implementation. Any adaptation. Ena mitigation. Nti afi na wo bia so say ye mfa de ni nya dwuma. Sa next video. Ndi ye ko yanim.
Eboboba. Production video 10. Enso wadaro ma mu room for my.
Ladies and gentlemen, the world needed to find a new way. And by following our North Star, we have found that new path. We have delivered a comprehensive response to the global stocktake and all other mandates.
COP28 chairman egusu a wakasa yesu egusu a yechiremu evangelist
sa pepepe on say new brofo say we have delivered a comprehensive response to the global stocktake and all the other mandates. Brofo no aka no say enhye no ayaye no yage atom pepepe eni ne na eka ho nyinara
yenya krokrechiri
na yesa lada to see no ampanimfo ne reference point no omwaje bibie biara tum twini ho a aka omonyintu yeda na ase enoma na other mandates na eka omonyantu no ehɔ na kwesera asom no eka ho ɛna baabi a province show kwesera asom no ɔka sɛ yɛyɛ kwesera ne yi a ɛbɛsa yɛ yadeɛ ɔka sa asɛm
ɛbɛsa yɛ asase ne yadeɛ yɛni yankopɔn ntem yadeɛ
na yɛnkɔhwɛ sɛ ɔmo kɔɔyɛ no ɔmo ka yadeɛ ho asɛm ne climate change yɛnkɔhwɛ video mmra.
Okay. Production video 11 wadaruma no so mu room for my.
A global goal to triple renewable energy and double energy efficiency. Declarations on agriculture, declarations on food, declarations on health. Many more oil and gas companies stepping up for the first time. Stepping up to deliver against very ambitious goals and objectives. And for the first time, to deliver on methane and emissions. And we have language on fossil fuel in our final agreement for the first time.
I don't know. And sabi twere eban no. Na yehia Daniel baba bekenkan. No akire mu de akire yen. Ye tira ye with the Daniel here with us. Evangelist. Emu da ho.
Yes. Yete ye. Na nsana memra ne kasa no so no. La nato si no. Page 172 paragraph 237. Province Church say Sunday like the Jewish Sabbath. is meant to be a day which heals our relationships with God, with ourselves, and with others, and with the world. Wachirimu se kwashadam ayaresada just say da
sa ye ni Nyankopon ntam yade sa ye ni yonku nipa ntam yade
mo watwa to ho a reference point sana cardinal no kai say president Kasano Dr. Ajaber Okasano or say declarations on food, declarations on agriculture, declarations on health, so yes, next say omode ya pomodini asase so pomodini nyina no ye de akoka climate change no say provinces they count.
That's right.
Fine. Now on kind declaration on health no yen ko tie videos a omo kan say ye kwai no omode apomodini nankasa abeka ho say papa na aka no a yen ko hwe videos.
Okay. Production videos 12 to 16.
Yes.
And also muro ni nyina enfama 12 to 16.
Many thanks, Prime Minister. Well, it is my great pleasure now to introduce our next keynote speaker who needs no introduction, Mr. Bill Gates.
Well, good morning. It's thrilling to have a health-focused event at the COP. It makes a lot of sense because, after all, our work on climate is to improve the human condition. And health, which allows people to thrive, be educated, and fulfill their potential, is the ultimate measure of whether we are reducing inequity. Nobody would be better off in a world with fewer carbon emissions, where we're reducing our interventions to reduce illness, starvation, and death. The reason that climate affects health are multiple. We have vector-borne diseases showing up in places that they never did before. For example, African cities that are at altitudes that mosquitoes didn't thrive at the past. The higher temperatures are changing that. When we have flood events, we see not only do mosquitoes thrive, but we also have diarrheal diseases showing up. And then in a direct sense, particularly for people who farm outdoors, there's the effect of heat stress. The WHO has estimated that over the next 2 decades, climate change will be responsible through these mechanisms for over 5 million deaths.
A few words. First, I think the challenges, the impact of climate change on health is clear. It's heat wave, malaria, dengue, asthma and respiratory diseases, cardiovascular diseases, mental health conditions, you name it. And I think we're agreeing that the impact of climate on health is the most compelling, and that we need to really help people to understand that. And they can understand easier if we tell them about the health or use the health argument. Of course, the ice cap melting or the warming is very important, and it's happening, but it seems distant to many people. So I think this argument could help us, the health argument, because they can understand, okay, our children are dying or our citizens are dying because of all these health conditions as a result of the impact of health. And what do we do to address those? I think we know what the long list of mitigation factors, a long list of adaptation. I think everybody knows. But in my exchange with you, with some of you, you told me, we discussed, you know, many of our leaders understand climate change, but they're not really invested in climate and health. So how do we make sure that our leaders recognize the climate and health? And how can we really make sure that if they understand, then mainstreaming of climate and health in all policies will be easy? Because without first understanding, recognizing, you cannot move into mainstreaming climate and health in policies. So I thought this private discussion would be happy to share it with you because it has consequences. For instance, some of you said when discussions on climate change happen at national level, the health minister is not even invited into the meeting. This could be because of lack of recognition of the political leaders, the prime minister or the president, in linking between climate and health. So I think investing on that will be very important because if the head of state or head of government understands, means it can help also in mainstreaming climate and health in all policies, then it can also go into the multi-sectoral approach that can help us to address climate change and health, both through mitigation and adaptation.
This COP is a pivotal moment. We are at an inflection point, and this is the most consequential COP after Paris. It has become very evident to everyone involved, those who are close to the subject at hand and those who are far from this very important conversation. We don't need any more evidence for climate disasters. I think it is more evident today than ever before that time has come for the world to unite and for the world to act and to deliver. And COP28 is that platform that will provide such an opportunity for us to unite, act, and deliver. The world is watching. Everyone is expecting unprecedented outcomes of this COP. And I have committed myself and the COP28 presidency team to give it our best and to do everything possible to deliver the most ambitious response to the global stocktake. I also want to thank the members of the COP28 Health Steering Committee and all of our partners from the health community, as well as those who are in the climate industry. You all know how appreciative we are of your efforts. You are all doing great work advancing health and the climate agenda. Colleagues, the climate challenge is increasingly becoming a health challenge. You can no longer divide them. They're very much interlinked.
I truly believe that health can be a game changer for climate action because it matters to everyone. We cannot maintain good health in a world of more frequent and severe heat waves, wildfires, floods, and droughts, with increasing temperatures fueling the spread of infectious diseases, droughts, and increasing water scarcity. Delivering on the Paris Agreement will help to protect both health and the planet. The same air pollution that causes climate change is associated with 7 million deaths a year.
Okay, adolf nema munyina akwaba em se yakwa akohwe ahompam jeni Bill Gates wakasa World Health Organization penim power da ewiase nyina pomdia so ye na no wakasa ena COP28 president nso akasa na enchiremu ni ntino yenko evangelist
wo nyina eto nwom baako na ekoyi
okay
sese omode abeka ho Bill Gates akase ai wiase amanaman kabom crew batankese no nim probata hwe yapomodin ene nnuro ni yare ahodo so no age atomo se no yare ahodo abanyina no kwado no yedibo climate change
okay
emo kan so se tuntun krampo no climate change nti 21 ba wiase
That's right.
ya da nase na omo ne Bill Gates no corona ne bae no womo a ede panie ne hunu bae no onko pesa Bill Gates say onimu de kosisai me de betwiri ho.
That's right.
Na afei chama nankasa ye WHO wiase amanama nyina eba na yaresade nduro de wote wodi konya kasie mu ye Dr. Gabriel Sos. What is so catch from say ya man panimfo no eba no ya pomodini ni climate change o monti ase in the same mo kwa mo catch from say climate change e kum ye ma climate change kunkum ye nuanom climate change makoma yade o kan nyina akere o no say on femi ni ba ye ngoka ena Dr. Ajaber cop chairman no be kan say no apomodini climate change no yentimi titimu biem yentintam nyina ba ko say ko France aka kire yen say kwasiana dan ana
say asase de ya
mo so ho da akopie ho o kan mfie no twini ena ba mu entese ye hu say yade eku ye no ye kopa ne duraba ano edro ne ye say ye hu me kwasiada e kanada to si no enti na me ba ye kan say de o person mo ye no oni nya nintan na de bi de betwato mo se mo ma etoso mienu etire dunum chichemu dunsia o se se mo tie erade asem a me ka cham enedai na mo tie erade ne a enu na sa mo de mo aso beti erade se enu na o se yade wa me di gu mizem fo so no me ma ebi edai eba so tim patro nyankopon na sa yade emfiri kwose da so na mpo se be firi wa nyankopon wa maye home da ye memene da se enu one ehye ne mran se no se mudi so a mehya mo nchuo so mehya mo duane so wanka kwasi ada indi po France o de kwasi ada ne firi here na kremo ni wiase nyina agya to mu ya kwaya ba.
Okay, even the nyankopon insha papa enti adofno se be mpani sisi kusipsre mienu esenseni ni a ana se otwensre mienu esenseni ni a yidi ba akon no yini ba akon no enwoma lada to see ne den hyehyɛ hodo bebre aba ewiase agya tum se eye papa na se yigina so e de adwuma ebebo ama bobra esesa ne de wo haw ne atobro nchem e ba yeso no ebebo ate ana se beba fem na hyehyɛ hodo no enne yeyi ni nyina akyerɛ se emu bie no hom hwidira omde nyina ye adwuma pepepepepe a ese was a road map na emu ba ako ai no na ye wurempie mu asiedu eye se yemfa kwasi adansi wonye ahomegida ema wiase nyina na se ye ne sa besa ya asase ne yade eno so wolada to si na popo de ba eno enti eno so wo mo agye atum wo mo nya hwere ekiri eba be yeduma ne ma ye mfise se estati e be kon kakra ne take global dimension aba be the mark of the beast nyankopon kan o se me ma obo medin won so no bebre won akomase no atie me nsem no odi me mra nsem so mesa won asase ne yade enti city a be ma nyankopon ena sa ya asase yade enya kwasi yade ye nipa nhyehyɛ a ye kodi so na be sa ya asase ne yade asem sebe be waso no ntie de honhom no ka kira asafo no na ye be hwese betuma fa course kakra production madam mayamfa ei
sabiabo
se ebrena ye be unfortunately yentimi emfa course bia messages about no Kingsley Opoku Afrifa was ha see that is what the church should by now notice, but don't regard him, okay? I am say Ebreno IB. It's out of no. Oba de insha mo say na Mmre so mo je Ebreno mo hwe adwumadi na program mo hwe na Mmre no. Mr. Free station ye Ewura adawo ma Mr. Free na me fa kwen so ne ya wo show official pack kese ye pa. Nada Roma ukua da Mmre wa bra bo no ndu ekobodu ba akono. Mbesa enya repeat ahwe. Inti repeat no so the Trinity and so be repeat e dey amamo the same time. Inti wo betimi access ho so e wo no. Ye wie program ya no achibu TV no. E dey ato 3 ABN Obra Evangelist Joseph and the time with the watchman and so back wa kwan so e wo no. Timon sha no so saman. Ye hia sika e dey tua air time no. Ti so wo sika bia person send the brain support to me tua ye nwaka. Me pato number be send the akoso no 055 35 74 933 055 35 74 933. Oh, question be answer for the same line. Evangelist be peke then komo bi o bia no no abona kama. Nti nan so ha na de dwumadi ni besie. Ye from asuafo de hye kofi kakari. Nyame akwa ode na feme yen a all man yemu daho emayeno evangelist, the researcher, the systematic theologian Joseph Anani. Evangelist, God bless you so much.
Amen.
Into now what person wabrabo no nsia ekobo no so no ma yemfi Adiyie Mmre bebo akwan so bio ebe me ehunu no kore no na no kore no aye ade hye afisha pa